Whenever someone mentions remasters or remakes of video games, I always think about how good some of the classics would look with modern graphics. Classics like the original God of War, Far Cry 3,
Are you the definition of insanity?
Monster Hunter 4, and Twilight Prince. You know what doesn't come to mind? The Last of Us Part 2. Now, when I heard that they were remastering The Last of Us Part 2, I just instantly went, "Boy, no way, boy. Ain't no damn way." I need a drink. Oh. Thank you. Oh, that was good. God. Oh, I love me some Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper. Sponsor me. This is one of the most detailed games to come out in the past 3 years, and still looks better than most video games that are coming out today. Unlike the first game where you're like, oh, this game looks amazing, and then you get hit with a remake and then you're like, oh, it never really looked that amazing, I guess. You don't get that with the second game, but as far as I'm concerned, they're remastering it, and so I thought that now would be a perfect time to revisit the game once again, and not actually when the remaster comes out.
The only catch, it would kill her. Sweet Jesus.
Doctor?
What are you doing? I won't let you take her. This is our future. Think of all the lives we'll save.
Jesus Christ, Joel. What'd you... God...
What the?
The Last of Us Part 2, a game that needs no introductions, surrounded by intense discussions, and Jesus Christ!
I do not like this game.
One of the worst games I've ever played.
But it is so incredibly disappointing as a follow-up to the first.
I don't even want to play it anymore.
I'm not playing this anymore.
And I was one of them. But after revisiting it, I have found a brand new appreciation for the game. Just as every chord in Ellie's guitar plays a crucial role for the music she plays, every gameplay element contributes to the experience that is The Last of Us Part 2. It isn't Tears of the Kingdom level where you can solve one puzzle 1,000 different ways, but it's open enough for a game based around a zombie apocalypse. Like, it just makes sense. From stealth mechanics that force us to think like prey avoiding predators, to the improved combat that sparks both adrenaline and contemplation. The gameplay is more than just a means to an end, it's the embodiment of survival itself. This game takes what we got from the first game and said, hey, you can dodge now. But seriously, whoever came up with this mechanic, give him a raise, a bonus, and then fire somebody and give that person's salary to this fucking guy. Like, shit. You can set traps, hide under beds, but the most important gameplay mechanic, you can pet the dog. You can also... I couldn't imagine a more improved combat system from the first game. Now, if you've lived on this earth long enough, you've probably heard of this thing called the weather. It's the condition in the air above the earth, such as wind, rain, or temperature. Now, as it turns out, the weather can affect us pretty badly, and God didn't create us with clothes on our back. Thanks for nothing. And the use of the weather in The Last of Us is actually really smart. At the start of Ellie's journey, the skies are clear and sunny, a clear reflection of Ellie's calm before the storm. But as time goes on and Ellie starts to become more and more cruel, emulating Joel and even Abby's behavior, you notice that the weather reflects that. It's like in God of War, when Atreus falls ill and like the weather like starts going back as Kratos is like on his way to get the Blades of Chaos. I'm such a fucking nerd. The game's environments are very precisely crafted, telling their own stories through letters and subtle details. What? They have Zelda! Oh my god, 10 out of 10 game. From the remnants of once thriving communities to the overgrown nature reclaiming urban landscapes, every location has a tale to share. And a great example of this is this one room. Now, if you're like me, who didn't pay much attention the first time I played this, you're probably gonna look at this room and be like, oh shit. Boom! But as it turns out, if you're willing to put in a tiny bit of effort into reading, you'll uncover a story behind these zombies. The story of Boris the Archer. The story of a man, a father, nay, a leader of a small community in Hillcrest, who has his daughter killed, God damn it, Last of Us. By the same people who killed Joel. The wolves. But instead of getting support like Ellie did, what Boris got were his own people turning against him. So what he did, much like any sane person, was poison them and drag them into a room filled with spores so they turn into zombies. In the process, he was bit himself and turned into a stalker who we later faced as Ellie. Okay. Wait. Now, I would not have minded if this fight was a bit longer. Take time away from this fight and add it to this fight. I mean, this is one of those small details that you could truly appreciate if you pay enough attention to the game. Not only does it expand the world of The Last of Us, but it also stays true to the first game, a game that shows us that you will not get any justice in this world. These small details also allow the players to connect the dots between Ellie, Abby, and Lev's story. 3 people from 3 different groups, which actually brings me to the story. So, what do I think about the story? It's a really good story. Naughty Dog's ambitious narrative, much like the first game, took players on an emotional roller coaster, leaving some in awe of its storytelling, while others grappled with its daring decisions. That is a sentence that I wrote. God damn. Joel's death, the single most controversial thing in gaming history. Let's talk about it. Jesus likes him. Change. I think the first game made a pretty clear point that Joel has changed throughout. I mean, that was literally his whole character arc. A loving father who lost his daughter turned into a cold-hearted killer who was able to rekindle his lost humanity after meeting this kid. Change. And Joel's character pretty much stayed faithful to that going into the second game. All of this is proven by the scene where Joel sings Future Days, where he says,
Oh, the demons used to come round. I'm grateful now they've left.
Because it highlights his shift towards a more compassionate self, reminiscent of the man he was before the outbreak, more than the man he was during it. People may not like it, and I completely understand why. People really wanted to see Joel redeem himself. But instead what we got was the redemption arc of the person who killed him. Now I understand that this was a very creative move, showing the perspective of the opposing side, but we can't deny that Naughty Dog doing this did indirectly attack their fan base.
There's gonna be fans of the first game that aren't gonna like the second game.
Now, unlike most video games where we only get to see one side of the story, the sequel to The Last of Us decides to show us all sides. This is a sad and grueling story in a sad and grueling world, which is very faithful to the original. I mean, other than Joel and Ellie ending up in Jackson, safe and sound, most of the side characters we met
has either died or left me.
The world of The Last of Us has never been a Disney movie, and that is perfectly portrayed in the second game, if not more. Ellie on her journey, initially perceived to be a hero's quest, which quickly turns into a hero's downfall, in which we see her slowly lose herself. I like to see this as Ellie sort of being in Joel's shoes in those 20 years that we weren't able to witness in the first game after losing Sarah. Minus the fingers. Then we play as Abby. Now, throughout the intense 10-hour journey, we're blinded by our desire for vengeance, neglecting to understand Abby's motivations. However, the game reveals her reasons, forcing us to confront our own biases. And despite our love for Joel, the world of The Last of Us raises the question of whether he deserved his fate or not. Perspective. Going all the way back to day 1, while Ellie undergoes a gradual downfall, Abby, who realized that there was no satisfaction in killing Joel, slowly goes through her redemption arc, in which we see her rekindle her lost humanity after meeting this kid. Oh, what the f? It's ironic because Abby killing Joel sort of set her and Ellie on the same path that Joel took. Now, looking at the entire game objectively, it's very creatively structured. Every character in the world of The Last of Us Part 2 is like a piece of a puzzle that makes the whole story. They make us rethink what's right and wrong and show us that the world isn't just good or bad. And they help us understand that things are a lot more complicated. And by the end, we really care about these characters and realize that everyone's point of view is important. It is a story brilliantly told, and I won't take that away from Naughty Dog. It's not an untouchable masterpiece. I have my issues with it. There are a lot of side characters, to the point where I did not really much care for them, and you could say that they're not that important to the story, and I won't really argue with that. I really enjoyed Santa Barbara, and I really wish that it was a lot longer. And Abby's day 1 was a lot shorter. Abby's built different. God damn. I mean, how the f does she maintain that amount of muscle in a zombie apocalypse? I mean, shit. Why? My eyes. Now, while it isn't as simple as the first game, it undeniably stands as an incredibly creative piece of storytelling. The game's exploration of multiple perspectives adds richness and complexity to the narrative, making it an emotionally engaging experience. God damn, I am on my IGN shit right now. 4.5 out of 5. I do like the first game more, but this game does have the dodge button. It has its issues, but I believe that it's not as big as everyone makes it out to be. Thank you guys so much for watching. Guys, we have a Discord server now. If you guys want to chat with me and some other people, check it out. Link in the description. Unofficial, official Josh Wick Plays Discord server. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and if you didn't like the game, or if you liked the game, leave a comment. Maybe we can have a discussion about it. And yeah. Bye!